Welcome back to Watch the Bookerman and to episode number 89 of Paul Heyman's TNA, and we begin with the match that was made last week. Bryan Danielson in a three-way. If he wins it, he is added to the Kurt Angle versus Bobby Lashley World Heavyweight Championship match at Slammiversary, and Kurt Angle's choice is Charlie Haas, and perhaps in response to that, Bobby Lashley's choice is Shelton Benjamin. The one rule, it had to be somebody who wasn't already booked for Slammiversary as of last week, and Bryan Danielson picks up the victory following a little miscommunication between the two members of wrestling's greatest tag team, but Haas is the one pinned following a dragon suplex. While Haas was the weak link, it's a good opening match, really happy with that. Bryan Danielson doing okay, and Benjamin not at his usual level, but we do get the show off to a strong start, and the crowd is now hotter, so a positive way to open the show. We then get Bryan Danielson standing tall in the ring, having officially been added to the World Heavyweight Championship match at Slammiversary. The commentators put this over, but one man who is not happy with this at all is Bobby Lashley, and he goes straight for Danielson, taking him down. We were actually doing a slow face turn for Bobby Lashley over the last couple of months. With him being on his way out of the company now, I've scrapped that completely, and he is the heel going into this match. If he's going to have to face Danielson on Sunday, then he wants to ensure that he isn't at 100% and isn't a threat to his chances of becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. Lashley claims that Danielson has stolen his shot. He's just giving him verbal abuse as he lays down strikes on the American Dragon. As Lashley sets up for the spear, Kurt Angle runs down, calling on Lashley to calm down. He's not himself particularly happy with Bryan Danielson being in the match. This isn't the way that he thinks it should be done. The two men do get heated before Bryan Danielson comes back at Lashley and he wants to take him down. Angle then gets into it with Lashley. Angle's still trying to cool down the situation, but the way Danielson is towards him, the way Lashley is towards him, even gets him fired up. All three men going at each other then as we go into the commercial break. The commentator is saying that we're going to have to get these guys pulled apart, but we're showing how fired up all three of them are for this Sunday's main event. Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin appear to be getting into a little bit of a disagreement in the back after their match. While they manage to avoid blowing up at each other too much, it's clear that they're teetering on the edge. Before this happens, however, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns, approach them. They say that WGTT need to cut this out as soon as possible because this Sunday all four of them will team up against the All Night Express and the American Wolves. They're ready to represent TNA at Slammiversary, but they need WGTT on the same page as well if they're going to stand any chance of defeating these Ring of Honor guys. We then go into a tag team match between the Knockouts, Alyssa Flash and Mickie James defeating the New Age, Daisy Hayes and Mischief in 8 minutes and 19. Mickie James pins Daisy Hayes. During the match, we get Mischief hitting Alyssa Flash with a Flash driver, Flash's own move, onto the steel steps on the outside, just adding further fuel to the flame of their one-on-one at Slammiversary. But of course, Mickie James getting a clean victory before she faces Sara Del Rey, and it's a solid performance from Mickie James. We do probably want to see a little bit better than that at Slammiversary, but I think Sara Del Rey will be able to bring that out of her, and she was head and shoulders above the rest. We are going to officially make the turn for Alyssa Flash as well, and I think this will automatically trigger the gimmick change. Yeah. She gets a great rating for her new gimmick, which I've just called Woman on a Mission. As her character develops throughout the weeks, I think hopefully I'll get a better name for that. But for now, she is just focused and determined, and her first port of call will be defeating Mischief at Slammiversary, the end of their tag team official, and it's going to be another one of those personal rivalries. Alyssa Flash and Mischief are both checked on the outside, both of them down following the use of Flash's own move against her on the steel steps. Mickie James, the only person left standing tall in the ring. Coming out from the back, Sara Del Rey joins her inside the six sides. The Knockouts champion raising her title high above her head. Mickie James and Sara Del Rey go face to face ahead of their match at Slammiversary, and the challenger Mickie James returns the favour from the previous week by slapping the champion in the face. Tit for tat, she then leaves the ring and heads to the back. In the office of Paul Heyman, the man in charge is speaking with Mr. Anderson, and Matt Morgan is stood beside Mr. Anderson, and Heyman says that he knows that Sunday is going to be a very volatile environment, and there's more heat between Ring of Honor and TNA than he can ever remember seeing between any two groups in wrestling before. They need to keep their eyes also on the New Age, so he's basically telling Anderson the plan of action, because he may be making a mistake here, but he's agreeing to Anderson's terms. We don't get confirmation on what those terms are, but Anderson tells Paul Heyman that he will not let him down and assures him that he has made the right call. He'll have to prove his worth immediately, however, as Bobby Lashley enters the office, fired up, and he's making threats towards the man in charge. He says that if Bryan costs him that title shot on Sunday, Heyman is going to be the one to directly feel his wrath. Mr. Anderson stands up in defence of Paul Heyman, proving his value instantly as Matt Morgan gets in Bobby Lashley's face. Morgan says that now isn't the time for his excuses, and he suggests that Lashley focuses on preparing for the main event of Slammiversary before he starts pointing the finger of blame at anybody else. So not as good of a segment as it could have been because of 3 of the 4 people struggling when improvising dialogue. Paul Heyman usually is pretty good at that. We then return to the ring for a 20-man battle royal. The winner of this match will be the 5th and final entrant in the King of the Mountain to crown the first ever TNA Evolve champion this Sunday at Slammiversary. You can see all the names on screen there. Homicide and Hernandez, Rude and Storm are responsible for each other being taken out of the match. Colt Cabana is taken out by Paul London, and Jay Lethal, who really sees this match as a huge chance for him to get back on the right path. He's actually eliminated very early in the match. Sweet and Sour try and work together, but they're eventually taken out, and we come down to a final 4 of El Generico, Amazing Red, Robert Roode, so it's actually Christopher Daniels, not Roode, who gets thrown out by Hernandez or Homicide. It is Red who is able to get rid of Roode. London then gets rid of Red. We come down to El Generico and Paul London, but Paul London is the one who wins this battle royal, and he will get what is possibly the biggest match of his singles career this Sunday at Slammiversary. He is joined by SoCal Val, who asks him how he feels about being the final entrant in the King of the Mountain at Slammiversary. He grabs the microphone from Val, tells her to leave the ring. He doesn't need to be questioned. He says that this is an opportunity that he's deserved ever since he came to TNA. Tonight, he outlasted 19 other competitors to make it to the first ever Evolve Championship match. What's 4 more this Sunday at Slammiversary? So we have tried to give London a bit more of a direction since Brian Kendrick's injury, and potentially this could be a huge moment in his career on Sunday. Of course, Kevin Steen, Desmond Wolfe, Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe will themselves have something to say about that. We're straight back into the 4th match of the night to begin the 2nd hour. Tyler Black defeating Austin Creed in 8 minutes and 49 with a blackout, and this is just to showcase the form that Tyler Black is in going into Slammiversary, where he will face Low Ki with his X Division Championship on the line. Unfortunately, as they don't click, it's not that good of a performance from Tyler Black, but I'm confident that Low Ki will get a better match than this 51 out of him on Sunday. After the match, as Tyler Black is stood tall in the ring, he is given very little time to celebrate by his opponent Low Ki. His match is scheduled up next, and he's not basically allowing Black any time to process his victory. He has no choice but to leave the ring. However, the X Division champion remains at the top of the ramp throughout the match. We do gain heat to the storyline with that match, so that's good. We then get Low Ki defeating Sean Spears. Again, a pretty straightforward win. A decent performance from Low Ki. We also know he can do better than that. But again, gaining heat to the storyline. 8 minutes and 9 seconds, he defeats Sean Spears with a Warrior's Way. He then stands tall, has his arm raised in the ring following his victory, and stoically stares down the X Division champion. We then get a pre-recorded promo from ROH spokesman Steve Corino, who confirms that he will have full control of this Saturday's broadcast of TNA Evolve as he presents the return of Ring of Honor Wrestling. He's got carte blanche to put on whatever show he wants to, and he promises that the TNA fans will have their eyes open to what real wrestling is this Saturday. It's only going to take 60 minutes of Ring of Honor for everybody watching to believe that hype. After that, this is going to be easy for Ring of Honor in their pursuit of their goals. However, Corino wants to have some fun with this, and since Austin Aries will be in action on that show 24 hours before the pay-per-view, he's inviting AJ to step into hostile territory just one night before his match for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Slammiversary. He feels it's only fair if Aries is going to a TNA pay-per-view on Sunday, then AJ Styles can come to a Ring of Honor show the night before. Waiting for him in the middle of the ring will be one half of the American Wolves, Davey Richards, and not to give a spoiler away, but Aries' opponent, while being a fellow ROH alumni, is going to be slightly less challenging than AJ Styles. Corino getting better at his gimmick. It's a solid promo, but it does unfortunately lose heat to the storyline. We do have that show on Saturday, of course, to build that back up, and I'm sure that we're going to do that with what we have planned. We then get an episode of the Beautiful People show in the ring with Angelina Love and Velvet Sky as they reveal the teams who will face them this Sunday at Slammiversary for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Showing their images on screen, the champions run down each team one by one: the UK's Blossom Twins, Mexico's Fabi and Mari Apache, and Japan's Kana, better known probably as Asuka, and Ayumi Kurihara, calling them a variety of unflattering names, everything from the usual playbook of the Beautiful People. They then, by their standards, get serious and explain that they are the reason that these champions were introduced in the first place, and now they're eventually in possession of them, they're never letting them go. Angelina says that Paul Heyman is sparing no expense to fly 6 women in from all corners of the globe, showing just how important they are. Either way, the result is going to be one everybody already knows. The Beautiful People are the only team on this planet to watch, and they are the best in the Knockouts Tag Team division. Unfortunately, losing heat to the storyline, but I wanted to just give Angelina Love and Velvet Sky the chance to hopefully build some intrigue to this match. It's 6 women we've never seen before, so at least that element of it will be interesting. We then return from the break to Mauro and Taz promoting prior to the main event that there will be a contest between Awesome Kong and the Amazon this Sunday at Slammiversary, and it's very much presented as a special attraction. We know from an in-ring standpoint this isn't going to be as good as many of the other matches on the show. It's something different and hopefully can provide a breather in what's hopefully a very, very strong match card. Footage is shown from the clash between the two women a few weeks back, with Madison Rayne confirming the match last Saturday on Evolve. Mauro and Taz then run through the rest of the Slammiversary card one more time as we head into the main event of Impact. Mauro struggling because I forgot to script Taz, but Taz doing well, so perhaps that balances out. Gaining heat to the storyline is the important thing. We then have a very strong main event. Would have been promoting this throughout the night, of course, I just forgot to mention it, but the commentators would have been hammering home that Jeff Hardy is having his first match in 6 months tonight. Fantastic heat and great wrestling. Jeff Hardy defeats Claudio Castagnoli in 16 minutes and 52 by pinfall with a twist of fate, following a botched interference by Jimmy Jacobs. It's not that he hits Claudio, but he just causes a distraction that means that Castagnoli's eye isn't on the ball when he is hit with a twist of fate. I did this match really just to check where Jeff Hardy was. I didn't want to go in blind to the Slammiversary match. I wanted to know sort of what to expect from him. He's been away for 6 months. We wanted to know if there's any ring rust, whether the rehab thing had any effect on him. It's a good performance. When we build him some more momentum, I think he'll be getting really strong performances, but you could say Castagnoli's carried him to a very good main event here. The New Age's chickens come home to roost storyline continuing, and after the match, perhaps quite predictably, Chris Hero runs down to jump Jeff Hardy. During the match, there'd been a mutual agreement between Chris Hero and Sting to not get involved, but as soon as that bell rings, Chris Hero is breaking that and looking to take Jeff Hardy out. He gets Claudio back to his feet, the two laying into their Slammiversary opponent, looking to weaken him as much as possible. Marching down from the back with a baseball bat, Sting makes the save for his partner, so basically a attack and save, fairly standard angle here, working with Jeff Hardy to send the Kings packing. Those two and Jimmy Jacobs then regroup at the top of the ramp as Sting checks on his partner before grabbing a microphone from ringside. He says that the New Age came to TNA at Bound for Glory, and due to what they did to him at Turning Point and what they did to Jeff Hardy just a few weeks later, they've both missed much of their rise to the top, but they've been at home, they've been watching, and Sting gives somewhat of a backhanded piece of praise to them, giving a bit of credit for what they've managed to achieve. The Icon then sends a fired up warning to them for this Sunday. The New Age cost him 6 months of a career that he admits he isn't sure how long he has left. That could be a huge portion of the time he has remaining in this business, and for that reason this is very personal. What they took can't be replaced, but on Sunday the Icon and the Enigma are coming to take what matters most to the Kings of Wrestling, the World Tag Team Championships. So a decent promo from Sting, nothing to write home about, but I thought having Sting deliver a fired up promo to end the show would be a really good way to end this build to Slammiversary, at least from the TNA side, advancing the storyline, not losing or gaining anything. A 77 is a good rating for an episode of Impact. For a change, we're not going straight into Evolve, of course, because we are actually recording the Ring of Honor show on its own. It's only 1 hour on screen, but I'm going to put a pre-show and a post-show on there. The idea that what you're getting on TV is one thing, but we are going to make it worthwhile to buy a ticket, because who'd come to just a 1 hour taping of a show? We've got a contract there Doug Williams, not been booked very well, but we are going to keep him around because he is a very solid in-ring performer, and basically I've had no problems with him, and there is a couple of contract things to deal with. Impact getting a really good rating, very happy with that. But this isn't the end of the show, because of course 24 hours before Slammiversary we have that Ring of Honor show, ROH returning, and we're going to see that right now. We begin with a match that really goes above and beyond, an 81 rated pre-show match. The Kings of Wrestling defeating Colt Cabana and El Generico in 15 minutes and 6 seconds. A match that could main event any Impact based on that rating. We're giving it away to get the crowd hot and ready for this TV taping. We then get Desmond Wolfe wrestling as Nigel McGuinness in a Ring of Honor ring, defeating Harlem Bravado in a bit of a squash match really, just to hopefully further get the crowd hot by seeing Nigel McGuinness back in his old gimmick and back on form. We then begin the TNA Evolve Presents Ring of Honor Wrestling show with Austin Aries' entrance for his match. He faces Grizzly Redwood and defeats him by submission in 2 minutes 33 with a last chancery. So while AJ Styles will be wrestling Davey Richards in the main event, as I said, it's not as much of a challenge for the Ring of Honor World Champion. He still puts in a good performance, and after the match we get the face-to-face between Austin Aries and AJ Styles. The Ring of Honor champion pointing out that AJ is so loyal and so proud to be a TNA guy, but before TNA even existed, he'd been on a Ring of Honor show. So like almost every star in that company, TNA's franchise player was made in a Ring of Honor ring. And tonight, Davey Richards is going to show AJ Styles what he's missed in all those years he spent away from the company. So further promoting the main event and also putting over to TNA fans how important Ring of Honor has been in building even some of the biggest names in TNA up. We then see a video package that further promotes this. Bryan Danielson, Nigel McGuinness, Samoa Joe, various people shown in a video package that promotes classic moments from Ring of Honor history. We then have the All Night Express in action, defeating Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Future Shock, I'm pretty sure I saved them as Future Shock in the game, so I'm not sure why it's just calling them Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. But nonetheless, a decisive victory for ANX before they feature on Slammiversary. The two youngsters getting in some offense and earmarked as potential future guys. Another thing that I've not noted yet, but the road agents, the referees, the commentators have gone the whole hog here in ensuring that everything on this show has a genuine Ring of Honor feel. So it's not Maro, Ada and JB as it usually is for Evolve. We're not using our normal referees. We want everything about this to feel authentically Ring of Honor. They then stand tall, they're ready for Slammiversary. We then get a promo from Steve Corino, who promotes the two matches featuring Ring of Honor guys at Slammiversary. He also notes that the investor will be watching very closely. Another okay promo from Steve Corino. Not doing great things for the Ring of Honor World Championship storyline, but we did just want Corino to lay out the situation and add the intrigue to the investor storyline. AJ Styles then defeats Dave Richards in a brilliant main event, got the crowd buzzing. AJ Styles v Davey Richards, that's no surprise. A superb match as described by the game, 18 minutes and 18, and while Eddie Edwards is at ringside, he isn't able to have an effect. Nonetheless, with them featuring in a match at Slammiversary, and the fact that in general I just want to keep the Wolves strong, it is a small package that AJ is able to win with, so not as decisive as it could have been, but still a solid win for him before the pay-per-view. He then cuts a pro TNA promo, and I really want to stoke the fires of the war here, so hopefully the idea is that this Hammerstein Ballroom crowd will react negatively to that, and we can obviously present this as the bizarro world of Ring of Honor. Corino comes out looking like he's going to address AJ Styles, but instead Austin Aries appears from behind him. This is a setup. Aries lays into AJ Styles in the middle of the ring before Steve Corino sends a message to the challenger for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Slammiversary. He basically says that on Sunday, Ring of Honor are going to win both of their matches, but it is just the beginning of their takeover of TNA. They're going to get Ring of Honor back where it belongs, and nights like tonight are not a thing of the past. They will be a regular occurrence once again. We then have a post-show match, so that's the end of what you'll be seeing on MTV, but I thought I'd stick one of the key matches from early Ring of Honor. I suppose this was actually a little risk now I think about it, given that Bryan Danielson's in the main event of Slammiversary, but he does pick up the victory, pinning Christopher Daniels with a Dragon Suplex. Daniels the only one of the three not in action currently on the Slammiversary card, so I thought he could take the fall. It's not a good rating, but that's just an effect of generally how post-show matches work in the game. And for those that don't know, this was the main event of the first ever Ring of Honor show. So of course it's fitting that if, as Steve Corino says, this is the beginning of the new Ring of Honor, what better match to main event it than Bryan Danielson, Christopher Daniels and Low Ki. It's a 73, so it does lose us popularity in 8 regions, but I'm happy with a 73. It's more than enough for what we need for MTV's threshold, so no complaints there, and that is everything done. The show's wrapped up for the build to Slammiversary. We're on the Sunday now, so it is just around the corner. I'll be back with that next episode very, very soon. We'll see what ratings that gets. A really solid rating, over 1 million viewers for Ring of Honor. If what Corino said's true, if what Aries has said true, we may have some converts who will now be cheering Ring of Honor over TNA. Hopefully not too many. And of course, the next huge monumental night in this rivalry and in TNA history altogether is Slammiversary, the 9th anniversary show, which will put the card on screen for now. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll join me for the next episode, because it's a really big one.